Arise and Shine, Book 2, Autobiography of Alice Sagastizado. Dedication. Dedication to God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, who before the foundations of the world knew my story had to be told. To Agnes and Rose, sisters who encouraged me to write again. Chapter 1. Relax. February 14th, 2022. Yesterday was Super Bowl. I was already enjoying it. My friend's cat was sick, and 2 other invited guests couldn't make it. I called another friend to wish her a happy Valentine's Day, a recent widow. She said she'll need to go to see someone who could help her transition into the new stage of life she was living in without her husband. My Hebrew teacher wants a husband whose occupation is a chef, but I'd like a husband in law enforcement who is also a handyman. Chocolate cake led me to the nearby Safeway grocery store on the road. I met my new friend there, whose husband recently died. She's in her 60s or 70s. She moved in from a different state to Maryland to live with her sister. We exchanged telephone numbers. She asked who I was staying with, and I responded with a Bolivian family. She was shocked that I wasn't living with my own family. I told her I used to live in Baltimore, Maryland, but relocated to the courthouse in my areas. She was shocked I didn't live with my family. I informed her my family lives in Arlington, Virginia. She mentioned she has a guy friend, a friend in Arlington, Virginia, who just lost his female friend. It's funny how we met each other first at the CVS, Consumer Value Store, and then at the neighboring Safeway a few stores down. She had a cart, and I realized there was a hanger stuck on the wheel that would have made it difficult to move the cart, and I helped her remove it. I wrote down my cell phone number on 3 pieces of paper because she lost all pieces of paper with my information on it. With the sudden loss of her husband, I guess it was difficult to focus on the present. On the 3 different occasions we met in that neighborhood, I wrote down my address and spoke about doing something I had in mind, go to church or walk in the neighborhood. She had in mind yoga classes. She said we could talk on the phone. I did try to call her on different occasions, but wasn't able to get through. I pray my friend is doing well. About a decade ago, I attended a Hagerstown church within the state of Maryland. I was attending with the family I resided with at the time. We were upstairs above the sanctuary, worshiping God in Spanish. My heart was heavy, thinking about my sister. I felt a hand on my shoulder. When I looked around, no one was there. I knew there were angels in the room. In that church, I received a lot of comfort regarding things I was going through and a lot of prayers. I know I was still talking to my Guatemalan best friend at the time because I could feel her praying for me at that critical time. She had offered to minister to my sister, but somehow I had written her a letter that was an effort to tear her down. I had shared the letter with my mentor, who had counseled me not to give the letter to my best friend at that time. After that, our friendship wasn't the same, and I had allowed my sister to be robbed of an opportunity to receive prayers and counseling. Another time came when Princess could have received counseling, but I didn't want her to come to the event and was embarrassed to call her my sister. My mentor from El Salvador, a female pastor, wasn't happy my sister wasn't invited to the life-changing event. Alice, that's selfish, selfish, she responded. During the years, I've asked people to pray for Princess, and for God to put people in her path that can do way more than I can think or imagine. Angels. During my teenage years in the ninth grade, I was attending St. John's. I know angels were on a healing mission. I smelled something I had never smelled before. I got to St. John's College High School, and God performed many miracles. I remember at the time of the school year, I was on the honor roll and got A's and B's. My friend of Jamaican descent, who looked like an Iranian woman from Sacred Heart Elementary School, pointed it out to me. She found my name on the honor roll list when she had went to visit. I was shocked at the news and didn't lose time to see what she informed me about. Understandably, I did so before I transferred to another high school within the Washington, D.C. area. She went to visit the school and asked if she could be on the football team, but that was something that wasn't allowed. My Jamaican friend. She was like me, went to an elementary school in Washington, D.C., Sacred Heart Elementary School. As girls, we played American football with the boys. I remember playing football with the family I came to live with decades later, and one of the kids exclaiming, "Alice, you have gorilla hands." Although I was shocked at the comment from an 8-year-old, I believe he was describing I could catch the ball and throw it better than any girl he had encountered in his world. Writing about Sacred Heart Elementary School reminded me of Father Dennis. He was a nice and caring priest. He was informed to relocate to a different state. He told the kids at my school he had to move to a different state, and we were sad at the move and complained about his relocation. I remember when I became a Christian years later, I had an intensifying dream where I met him at the steps of Sacred Heart Church and was telling him about Jesus and his need to renounce being a priest for the Catholic order. As I told him to accept Jesus into his life, he remained silent. I waited patiently for his response.